Hey guys, Coach Jorge here, wife Marty. In today's video lesson, Marty, we're going to be answering a question from the website, which is, what is the proper role of the non-dominant hand? I'm a righty, so this is my non-dominant hand. And I'm going to answer that two ways. I'm going to answer it as to how it relates to what it does on the grip or on the racket, and also what it does as part of the stroke. All right, so here's my takeaway. Generally, the non-dominant hand is always on the racket. It's not a good idea. You don't really ever see the pros not having their racket. After each shot, their left hand or the non-dominant hand comes back onto the racket. What's different is where it comes back on the racket. So for example, for me, if I'm hitting ground strokes, I'm always coming back to here. I have a one-handed shot and I come here, and this is how, when I cradle it like this helps me make my grip changes, okay? But I know for a fact, I've coached really good players, that when they hit a forehand, they come back and it's here. This is their ready position. This is their cradle position, if you will. Now, I'm not going to fight with that because to me, I think that's in the range of acceptability. So if someone does that, I would rather have them put it up here and change it like that, but I can live with that. Let's answer this question, which is a more sticky one. A lot of coaches, teaching professionals, when it comes to the volley, more of them want it up here. They don't really want your left hand down here. Again, could you find a pro that volleys well with their left hand, their non-dominant hand down here? I'm sure you could. But now a greater percentage of the pros, when they volley, that left hand comes up here. Even if they're two-handed backhand ground strokes, they volley more like this. This is, I think, a preference. Now, where I stand on this one as far as toughness is this is on the border. I think this is in the range of acceptability, and I really don't like this for the ready position for the volley. Now, I'll tell you a true story. One of the best players I coached was a girl named Linda Tran, and she did that, and she was an All-American and Division I All-American. She won a gold ball in USPTA Girls 18 doubles champion, so she could play. But I remember when she was young, I was trying to get her up here, it just wasn't natural. So we decided, Linda, as long as you can be down here, as long as you hit underspin on your volleys. I don't want to see these topspin volleys from below net level. So she was able to do that, and she did quite well. So there are exceptions, but this is just my opinion on what's worth changing or not. So the role of the dominant hand is super important. On the left, now let's talk about how, we talked about how it is on the racket. Now let's talk about how it is on the strokes. On the ground stroke, a forehand ground stroke, the non-dominant hand, I'm going to take a position here. It helps with the unit turn, which is this turn. Racket back really is not correct. Unit turn is more correct. And you'll see almost always as players get ready to hit, their left hand is right across here. Well, imagine this is the baseline and hitting that way. Their left hand is parallel to here. So lefties would probably look like this. I mean, it's almost shocking how consistent that is, where the left hand goes to here and then the racket comes pulling through. Last thing we'll talk about is the role of the left hand or the non-dominant hand on the serve, because I think that can really mess people up. So what happens properly, the left hand goes up in my case, and it collapses in, okay? It collapses in as this go. I like to think of it as an exchanging of the arms. This left shoulder starts to come down at the same time my right shoulder replaces it. This is not correct in my opinion. I think it really comes here, it helps stop, and you can kick the racket through. Now, there is some footage, especially on JorgeCapestany.com, under the pro slow motion footage, where you can see the pros like Andy Murray will come here and then he quickly goes here. So if I'm Andy Murray and I'm looking at Andy Murray's serve, you might see this and you go, aha, Andy actually goes straight here. But really, if you look closely, he comes here. This is all, kind of idiosyncrasy. All right, so understanding the role of the non-dominant hand is super important. I think what you have to work out for yourself is, with your coach or you as a player, what are you going to do? I think there's two big areas to think about. What your non-dominant hand does with the stroke, and also what your non-dominant hand does with the racket and holding it, all right? So those are the two areas I want you to think about. So thanks for checking this out, guys, on both of our websites, tennisdrills.tv, our coach's website, also JorgeCapestany.com, our free website for players. If you happen to be watching this video on JorgeCapestany.com, please scroll down and leave us a comment. This is what we love to hear from you guys, and we'll respond to any questions you have. And you can also see on JorgeCapestany.com a bunch of sweet footage of high definition of the pros and see what their strokes really look like. So thanks for checking us out, and make sure you do the right thing with your non-dominant hand.